Does that count?
I mean, like, they were there.
An eye?
Oh, yeah.
All right, but your cells replace each other. You know, like I don't know. It's the abiotic thing that I've owned longest in life. How about that?
I
Yeah.
suppose.
So I was just checking in with the other staff folks. We're going to do a little bit of an intro. So whenever 12 o'clock rolls around and people start filing in, I'm just going to talk a little bit and just kind of set up the basis for the presentation, and then we'll go into it. And then I'm going to try to stick to the times that we've got set up here for the most part. And then if there's any time in between, I'm just going to throw out some questions about what the term was like and, what it was like to do online learning and all that kind of stuff. So, yeah, that's all. Figure we probably wait a few minutes like we do uh, for regular class before we get started as well. Does anybody know that they have somebody specifically coming to visit to see them?
My mom is looking for my room, and she's gonna browse other ones.
Cool. I should send this link to my mom.
You should.
I don't know if my mom does Google Meet, but we'll see. And then you should have got a notification, but we're also recording. So if it turns out that people aren't in the room yet, you're just going to present to us, and we're going to record, and then everything that's going to be on there is going to be revisitable later on. So we'll also fill in questions for us. I appreciate you all going through and doing that as we were doing our rehearsal. So we'll continue to do that as well. Get my hair all good, and then we'll go ahead and get started. So I'd like to thank all of our guests who are joining us today. And at the beginning of the term, or actually the beginning of the year, we had started working on a project called Snapshots of Joy. And with that class, we handed out a disposable camera to each of the students and a lot of the staff as well. And we were taking time to use this older technology that is not it's not as immediately satisfying. You take time to line up the picture, and then you don't know what you're going to get until it gets developed. And it was our intent to work on this for about 6 months. And then at final presentations, we were going to have our snapshots of joy presentation, kind of a gallery walk that we could go through and see all of these images and hear what it was like for students to experience this process. Fortunately, our images that we had, the negatives and the enlargements that we had all set up, first of all, they were still in this place of business where they had been enlarged. We hadn't been able to go pick them up since the quarantine. And then also, whenever there was the rioting and looting things happening downtown, uh, Central Camera was set on fire, and the owner of the building said that he was able to take one thing out, and that was the first camera that was sold by I think it was his father, maybe his grandfather, but it was the first camera ever sold by the business, and that was the only thing that was taken out of space. And so our enlargements, the work that we have there, they didn't make it to the best of our knowledge. But it did bring up this idea of if you had a moment to choose what thing you would take with you, if you had just a moment to decide this is the one thing that is going to come with me, the thing that I save, the thing that I preserve, what would that be? And so we wanted to use this opportunity for final presentations to think about our own snapshots, these moments, these lessons, these ideals that we hold on to that we don't want to lose. Whenever the world returns to whatever it does, whenever we change the way that we're living, what are the lessons that we want to take with us? What are the things that we want to make sure that come along? And so we have our snapshots, final presentations here. I'd like to welcome Georgette to present her presentation, Snapshots of Contentment. Georgette, are you ready to take the stage here?
Yes, thank you for the introduction.
Thank you.
Okay. Sorry, let me just get this to full screen. Okay. Finally, the year has come to an end. Junior year was a very stressful one. Going into this year, I expected to be stressed about action projects, taking the ACT, and thinking about colleges that I'll be applying to next year. But as we all know, the end of this school year took an unexpected turn. This image reflects how I've coped with the events that took place during this term. I've had this journal for 2 years. I write down my thoughts, feelings, and even dreams I want to hold on to. This journal helps me document my growth. I can look back a couple pages, and see what I was doing and feeling on this day a year ago. When we switched to connected learning, it was mentally draining staring at a computer screen all day long. Then, consistently being exposed to current events on social media, it felt like I had no escape. Having an outlet like my journal was a way for me to escape. I am also fortunate enough to have a large group of friends, family, and more friends to keep me sane during these crazy times. Thank you. Any questions?
Thank you, Georgette. I have a question for you. So I was thinking about these journals, diaries, these records. These are primary sources. We think about how we use the Diary of Anne Frank and things like that. The piece that you have created here, I think just for yourself, but it's not just a record of your thoughts. It's also a record of what's going on in time right now. And I was wondering how you might feel if someone were to read these sometime in the future, whether it be like your grandkids or a total stranger. How would that impact you?
Oh, I don't even know how I would react because I don't plan for anyone to read it. I write my thoughts as like a script for only me to see. So if someone were to see it, I don't know how I would react. That's a great question. Thank you.
But thank you. I appreciate it. We'll open to the floor. Also, any other questions, anything you want to know about Georgette and the journal process?
I have a question. How often do you write in your journal?
I don't write every single day, but I usually write when things like when I have an idea that I want to hold on to, or just like an event that I want to, just anything that sticks out that I want to remember.
Cool.
And then do you ever go back and just kind of browse through just to see where you were at previously?
Yeah.
What does that bring up for you? Like what kind of emotions does that bring up for you?
If I'm feeling like this one time I looked back for May 30th and I was feeling the same exact way that I did that day that I did a year later. So it's kind of cool. It's kind of scientific in a way. I don't know if that's like a, but it's cool.
Oh yeah, that's a ton of data to work with. That's really
Yeah.
interesting. And what did this feel like a chore for you, especially like being, on lockdown? Was this something that you had to make yourself do, or was this something that you saw as like an outlet? Or I
No,
guess like
it's
an outlet.
yeah, no, it's just something that I want to do because other people have like art or something, but I'm not really like artistic, so writing is my outlet, I guess.
Thank you so much.
Yeah.
Next, we are going to have Jaden, who is going to be presenting his project, Snapshots of Rebuke. So, Jaden, I'll give you a second to get your screen share going, and then you can give us an intro to what we've got going on.
All right. Can everybody see?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's loaded for us.
All right, I'll just get started. So yes, my name is Jaden. I'm a sophomore at GC Lab School, and this is my presentation on snapshots of rebuke. I decided to call it snapshots of rebuke because I'm rebuking against one of the characters in a play that we read in our drama class. The play was called Taming of the Shrew, and it's basically about sexism during the Elizabethan era. And during that era, there were a lot of injustices against women, like they couldn't do certain things that they could now, and just a lot of things that were happening back then. It's about the main character Petruchio and his wife Catherine, and how Petruchio treats his wife. It's pretty messed up. He married her for land and money and fame. So that was pretty messed up. And for the AP, for the action project that we had in that class, we were supposed to write a sonnet to one of the characters in the play, and I chose to write my sonnet to Petruchio, and this is what I came up with right here. The font is kind of small, so I'll read it. Um, Such taming of the shrew makes you quite low, Sir Petruchio. It seems you are lost. The ages are surely different, though. Even so, respect has not any cost. A woman is no tool for amusement, nor an animal that needs to be tamed. Thy actions seem as though they are useless. No one's heart should think for others be slain. What dowry shall I have with her to wife? You doth not marry her for the riches. One shall marry for the love of his life. Least thou not a knave, show true intentions. Kate, know your worth. You must be vexed, it cuts. Thy words, sounds, and actions are like gamuts. So this is what I wrote to Petruchio, and towards the end, I started talking about Kate. But in the first three stanzas, I was addressing Petruchio and just his overall treatment of women. It wasn't just Kate. It was mainly every woman in the play. He would treat them like objects and just playthings, and that was wrong. So I had to tell him that um, nobody should really hope for the outcome of someone else's life to be bad, in a sense. And then the third stanza, I was replying to his one of the quotes I got from him. What dowry shall I have with her to wife? He was basically just asking like, if I marry her, like what will I get out of it? And I was telling him that like you shouldn't marry anybody for any type of reward. You should only marry somebody if you like truly care about them, if you truly love that person. And towards the end, I was addressing Kate. I wasn't really like scolding her or like rebuking her or any of her actions in the play, but I was just telling her that um she should like kind of know her worth and not really stand for anything like that again. Because like throughout the entire play, she was just kind of going along with what Petruchio was like doing to her, and it gave her some like serious psychological trauma. So I was just trying to make it a point to her not to let anything like that happen to her again. My thoughts. So during like the process of like writing the sonnet and like towards the end of the AP, like after, it made me just really think about how sheltered I was, um, how like my thoughts were different from the way that other people think about like how like they can treat somebody so wrongly, and it made me think deeply about how like the times are different now than they were back then. Um, and they're like still pretty bad now. For women, there are still women that are, um, you know, not in good positions, just because they are women. But I was just really, dumbfounded and kind of annoyed by the actions and things that were being done to the women in the play. So that's my snapshot of rebuke. Any questions?
So I was talking to another student, and I think it's one thing to have something to say, and obviously you've got some thoughts to put out there to Petruchio. What was it like to take those thoughts and turn them into a sonnet?
Um, it was pretty difficult, mainly because like in a Shakespearean sonnet, you have to like follow iambic pentameter. It's just a certain format of writing, so it kind of hinders like what you really want to say. So they were like this was like the sonnet that I wrote was really um it was kind of cushioned as opposed to like the version that I really wanted to like give him and just say to him. So mainly because of the format it had to be written in, you know, it was kind of hard to write it in that sense because I couldn't like get my full view and emotion across through the sonnet.
Thank you for that. Any other questions for Jaden here?
Yes. I was thinking back to my poem, and I realized that it's just not as good as yours. So I was wondering if you were ever considering joining like LTAB in the future or next year.
Um, yeah, I've been thinking about it actually. Um, I thought about it for freshman year, but I just didn't feel like I was good enough to join, so I didn't. Um, I'm still thinking about it though, seriously. So maybe.
Any other questions for Jaden?
Any other questions?
Not related to your project, but I do have a question that I'll start with you, and then also we'll open it up the floor to any of the other student presenters here. Jaden, what was it like to do online learning this term?
Um, I want to be honest, it sucked. Mainly because like I'm more of a kinetic learner, so like the whole talking to a screen and like not the um same connection that you get with your teachers and peers is just really annoying. And it's like a lot harder to get work done at home, especially since it's just like it's an environment where like not as much productivity comes as school does. So there's just a lot of factors that made e-learning pretty bad.
Given the circumstance, do you think that you were about as successful as you could have been?
No, not at all.
Would you do anything different if you had a chance to try it again?
To try e-learning again?
Yeah.
Now that I kind of know what it's like, I feel like um my sleep schedule would be what I would change. Mainly because like I would like wait until like 10 minutes before class to like get up and then like go to sleep at like 4 in the morning. And it would just like really mess with my attention in class. So I feel like sleep would be the biggest factor in that.
Thank you. Any of the other student presenters want to jump in on e-learning and what that was like this term?
I'm gonna stop.
I can.
Yeah, go ahead.
I didn't like it at all. Don't think it was like the fault of any teachers. Like I think we did as best as we could have in planning it, given especially the limited amount of time and the difficult circumstances. But it's just like really not my style. Like again, and I don't think that's like anyone's fault. I think it's just really difficult to replicate the unique experience that GCE gives in the building at home. Kind of like what Jaden was saying, I think like the hands-on aspect of what we're usually doing is really important, and we kind of lost a lot of that. Although I liked the kits we got mailed. That was cool. Also, just because like mail, fun stuff. But
Nice to get mail.
yeah. So I think like because my brother's in a CPS middle school, and they like really weren't doing it great. Like he did not have a lot of stuff getting done at all. And I liked the scheduled meetups and whatnot. But I don't think that e-learning is something it like definitely it made me feel for people who usually go to school online. I have a friend who's like online school like even when it's not the apocalypse. And it gave me a unique sense of sympathy for her, but I can't wait to get back in the building.
Yeah, I think there's a lot of excitement to get to meet up again. There's definitely a loss whenever we couldn't have that time together. Thank you for that, Maggie. I think let's go ahead and get set up for Kaylee. Kaylee is going to be presenting from outdoors. Are you around, Kaylee?
Yeah.
All right, and then this is going to be snapshots of natural engagement.
Yeah, so welcome to my final presentation. My name is Kaylee. I'm a freshman at GCE Lab School, and I decided to take one of my first action projects from this term from my food class. So that action project was basically me creating a theoretical garden and planting some seeds. So I decided that I would take that garden plan and create it in real life. So I was able to start my garden, but sadly I wasn't able to get as much work done as I wanted to due to lack of resources. But with the resources that I did have, I created this. So I had this box at home, and hold on. Okay. And so I filled it with soil, and so now I have my plant that from that action project, along with a bunch of other seeds in here of the same plant that are just now starting to grow. So yeah, so I think that gardens are important because not only are they good for your mental health, and physical health because of the exposure to vitamin D from the sun. They can help the environment by bringing more natural resources into our society today, which is built on developing technology. So I plan to work on this garden all summer long, for as long as it takes. And I think it will be good for me and the environment and my community. So, any questions?
Thank you so much. I was wondering, what's the project that you were working on that led to the garden here?
So I have the kind of plan that I just sketched out on paper. I don't know how well you can see it because it's just in pencil, but it's like 4 garden beds with a bunch of different vegetables in it, and then some of them have flowers. So yeah, that's the goal.
And so for the class, you had to design a garden?
Yes.
Cool.
What do you plan to do with the garden once the weather gets colder?
I have not thought that far in advance yet. So I don't quite know yet. So I'm hoping that everything will be grown before it gets cold out. That would be ideal. and I don't know if I will be able to keep all of everything like clean with all the snow. So yeah.
Do we have any other questions for Kaylee? All right, so I've got one that's not related to your project. I'll start with you and then also open it up to the rest of the group. You've got a pretty tight-knit group of students in the freshman class. And so what did y'all do throughout this term to make sure that you were able to stay connected to one another?
Well, being that there's not that many of us, it was pretty easy to stay connected. Often we'll like message each other because we have like 3 different group chats. So I think it's really great, and sometimes we'll like
We video
call
chat.
each other. Yeah, we video chat a lot at like 1 a.m. So it's fun, and we're hoping to be able to get together at some point this summer.
For
We don't
Graham's
know exactly
birthday.
what that'll look like, but yeah, for Graham's birthday.
It's coming up June 21st. Happy birthday, Graham.
Thank you.
And then we've got some representatives from the sophomore and junior class in here as well. Did your cohorts take any different strategies to stay connected to one another? I know that there's some larger groups, so maybe even just in smaller pockets of those cohorts.
For the junior cohort, we all have like very different personalities, so we aren't as close as the freshman cohorts, but we have individual friend groups. And in those friend groups, I guess we all FaceTime and do those things.
And I would say there's what, 17 of the juniors? Yeah. So
That'd be a
So you-
project time.
even a friend group from there is probably comparable to the size of the freshman cohort there. Cool. Jaden, how did the sophomores manage that this year? Oh, I may have lost Jaden. We'll come back and check in with him in a bit. Kaylee, you had mentioned these packets that got sent out to y'all. Hey, we've got a guest. Hey, Timothy. Can somebody tell us about the packets? What was it that you received in the mail, and what were they intended to do?
A whole bunch of seeds.
And dirt. No, but so the packets that we got were basically just to help us with our class, give us some extra resources that we might not have had. So for our food class, we were given a bag of soil and seeds and seed tester and randomly a sponge, which served no purpose. And then we got another one for our art class, and it was basically just paper, pencils, and like pastels that we could experiment with.
Awesome, thank you. Georgette, what was in the junior pack there?
We had circuits and batteries and popsicle sticks to build our bridges and glue sticks.
You're kind of powering through all your action projects there, right? Awesome. Somebody says, and glue. For that particular project, I think it's really important that everybody's working with the same materials because you compare the results, right?
Yeah, but only a couple, like 2 people used their own materials.
Gotcha. And so they were kind of in a separate category.
Yeah.
Thank you so much. Graham and Maggie are going to be going next, and then imagine you'll have a little bit more of a tech load on your end here. So we're going to be seeing a cooperative project here. This one was done extracurricularly, but very much related to school. This is going to be snapshots of memories. Graham and Maggie, are you ready to share your work?
Yeah, I think so.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah, we can go ahead and get the screen share loaded up at least. And so what was the thought process for doing this together? Because I
Well,
think this is the only joint project that we have this term.
well, we had started working on this before it was final presentations. And I came up with the idea of using it for final presentations, and I was planning on doing that anyways. But I thought it would be kind of unfair if like either one of us just took credit for all of the work that was done. So it just sort of made sense.
That's fair. All right, I'm going to go on mute and let y'all take it from here.
Maggie, do you want to say something?
Yeah, so this is a project that we've been doing for at least a month, maybe over. And we really recently got like Monday night to Tuesday yesterday, we started grinding on it. So 2 days ago, the first floor wasn't finished. It didn't have a roof. The second floor didn't exist at all. But we had the opportunity, since we chose to do it for the final presentations, to really work a lot on it and get it done, which I was really excited about. We chose this, I mean, partially because, like I said, we had already been running it, but it was important to us in the first place to make this because really by like the start of May, even maybe April, it had really set in that we probably wouldn't be seeing the building again in the way that it had been while we were there. Just because of, I mean, partially we wouldn't have through the end of the year anyways because of the pandemic, but also because of the move. So we wanted to sort of have a way to remember it in the way that it was. And this was our way of doing that. Do you have anything to add, Graham?
I do not.
Okay. Take it away.
So welcome to our build of GCE Lab School. Let's start the tour. As we enter the lobby, you can hang up your coat and walk into the sign-up sheet.
There's some GCE merchandise. You can always purchase that in the lobby. And there's also our wall of seniors. We have most of the seniors and where they're going to college.
Over here we have Sarah's office.
And then we also have some staff offices. We have Kylie's office, which we were guessing on because we've never been there. And then we also have Cabell's office, which we were also guessing on because we have never been there.
We're really good students.
Yeah, we're just amazing.
The first room that we designed and fully completed was the D-Lab.
It's probably my favorite room. I really like the way we did it.
You can sit in these pods out on the side or in the middle table.
Chat with Raphael.
On this side along the wall, we have the front stairwell, but we can get to that later.
And then we also have some closets that who knows what's in there. The staff bathroom where we are not allowed. Get out of there, rascal. Some more storage. Who knows what's in there? He looks busy. Let's not. And another bathroom.
In this closet, we can deposit our dishes at the end of lunch.
And scrape your food into the compost.
Here we have the map room.
It's a work in progress. The maps kind of take a long time to make, but if you look closely, you can sort of see some of the very beginning outlines of the first floor.
It'd be a shame if someone were to just walk through the entire class to get to the amp.
It's in the middle, loudly.
Here in the amp, we look like we have a class going on. Someone's giving a presentation. Here's a senior store. Looks like they're trying to sell you some cookies.
Or take your money. Complete with a working refrigerator. It do be dispensing food, though.
In the OC, we have the high tables and the blue stools.
Complete with the loft, where you are not allowed to go. Do not go into the loft. The loft is not allowed. Out,
I want to.
out, out.
Looks like these students are over here chatting.
Trading some notes, perhaps.
If we move into the cafe, we can see the seating area.
Another working food fridge. I have soup.
This is the back stairwell.
Complete with some coat hooks and barrels to store things.
Don't go out that exit.
It's illegal.
If we move from the stairs, our first class is the screening room.
Doesn't look like there's anything going on there right now.
We can open up the classroom into the cooler.
With the leaky ceiling, as always.
Yes, it's occasional, but there it goes. As we move into the tea room, we can find gaming club in session.
It looks like they're playing Donkey Kong. Best to not bother them. They're strange types.
Here in the seminar room,
Somehow no violin.
move into the first half of the staff offices upstairs.
Hello, good sir.
He seems hard at work. In the second half of the staff offices,
Remember not to enter without knocking.
just outside of the cabin, we have some workspaces where the juniors like to hang out. And it includes their favorite spot, underneath the
Underneath the desks.
In the cabin, looks like we have the freshman class going on.
You know it's them because no one's using the wheelie chairs.
Into the kitchen, don't forget to compost.
Don't use this door, it's bad.
On this side, we have the large restroom with the shower.
Woo!
And 3
Cleanliness.
other regular restrooms. Can't forget about the GCE Lab School merch that's hanging in the display case. And the front stairwell with the mural.
And Donkey Kong again.
Don't forget to sign out.
And then
Yeah.
we have our Hall of Fame / credits, parentheses, enter if you dare.
Just a quick thank you for all the people that built the original school. And
This is a side note, but the kids at Walter Payton and the kids at Jones College Prep built full models of their schools. It's like open as a 24/7 server. They're shelling out money for it, but that's just something that I found really impressive.
into the builders.
Woo, that's me.
And me.
Woo.
And that concludes our tour of GCE Lab School. 1535 North Dayton.
Graham made me take off the dragon head because he said it was distracting.
That was rude.
I know, right?
And just to show you the pure size of this school build, I'm just going to zoom out here. As you can see, it's a very large build that we had to
Stand
do.
under for context.
How many hours do you think you have in this build?
A lot.
At least
I know we spent
20.
like 8 hours on it yesterday.
Probably a whole day's worth.
Yeah. It took a while, especially like the first floor was probably the hardest because we were trying to get proportions correct. But we kind of had like a groove going, I guess. By the time we got to the second floor, like Graham was doing the structure of it and I was downstairs doing some detailing on the first floor. We even had some time to make some secret rooms, which if anyone here ever goes on the server, they'll have the opportunity to see, but they weren't shown in this tour.
Because they're a
For
secret.
now, you have to come back.
We
Thank
can
you
open
for
up the floor to any questions for Maggie and Graham here.
Do you plan on doing this with the new space once you see it?
I'm not sure. I feel like that would probably be more difficult just because it's in like a multi-level building. I mean, personally, I would never say never on that, but
It'd
I feel
definitely
like
be a
that
step
would
up.
take much more time.
Yeah, I know that there are a lot of students who are probably not going to get to make it back to the building to see it before we relocate. I personally am not going to be back either, and so it means a lot to me to be able to see this and see the ton of details that you put into it. Like this is clearly you're familiar with the space and all of its quirks, so it's nice to see that in there. Thank you so much. Thank you for sharing as well.
Yeah.
And we've got one last presenter. This is going to be Layla, and she's going to be presenting snapshots of dance. Layla, are you all set to do your screen share?
Yes.
All right, fantastic.
Okay, so snapshots of dance. So basically, what I've been working on during this quarantine is dance, and I've been taking a lot of dance classes. I've been taking dance classes Mondays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays. And I wanted to show some like a dance that I made for myself and just show that what I've been working on lately in terms of dance classes, and that I've been working on like all different types of styles, and that like you can still do what you like even in like times like this when we're like video chatting and stuff. So yeah, I basically have this little dance that I made and I'm just going to present it now. If it will work. Wait. Can you guys hear it?
Yes, it's coming through.
Erin, my sister, is requesting to join. Can you let her in?
Okay. That is pretty much the end of it. Does anybody have questions about anything?
Nothing is done.
Okay, it's loading and it's like taking a really long time, but does anybody have any questions about anything? Yes.
Oh, sorry. It looks like you, Layla, can I get you to mute one of the devices that you got? Either one.
Okay.
Okay. We'll see if we can get rid of the echo. It looks like you've got a studio in your house where you were able to work on your dance. Is that what we were seeing there?
That was just a living room, but that's what I use, so I guess it's both.
You kind of converted it to a space
Yeah.
there. Oh, that's awesome that you were able to have that there. How big of a role has this played for you this term? Because I know that dance is one of the things that you use um, to do self-expression. So how much time has that taken up for you, I guess?
It's taking up a lot of time. Like I'll do like school, and then right after school I have like dance for 2 hours or so, like almost every day. So pretty much a lot of the time. I don't really know exact time though.
Can you talk a little bit about the style of dance that you were working on here? You were saying that this was not necessarily new to you, but that you hadn't approached it in the same way.
Oh well, yeah, this is not really something that I like. I just made it up on the spot, so it was kind of like improv, and I don't usually do that. So yeah, that's what it was. It was just like an improv of like what I felt like doing in that moment, I guess.
But what style of dance is it?
It's contemporary.
And can you explain what contemporary is as a genre of dance?
I don't I don't really know. I just know that that's what it is.
Is contemporary dance closer to modern or jazz?
It's closer to modern. What? Oh my god.
This is her mom. I'm giving her a hard time.
So annoying. You please leave.
And Layla, your mom also dances. Is that correct?
Yes.
I got one more question.
Oh
Sorry. What does it mean to improv when you say you improv the dance?
well, for me, it just means to make up like something on the spot without having to think about it, or that's what it means to me. Just making up. Improv is anything. Like it doesn't have to just be dance. Improv can be talking, or anything. You just start moving, and then that just becomes something.
Thank you.
Very cool. Layla, thank you so much. I would love to have a round of applause for all of our student presenters here. Starting from the top, we've got Georgette, Jaden, Kaylee, Graham, Maggie, and Layla. Everybody has done a fantastic job, and this was an absolute blast to be a part of it. So congratulations. Thank you so much. You've done a ton of hard work. I wish I could clap louder. I don't want to blast anybody's ears out, but know that I'm definitely cheering you on from here. I believe that that's going to be it for us as far as final presentations go. If you are joining us here, we would love to welcome you back at 5 p.m. tonight. We've got graduation that will also be live streamed. The seniors are going to be in person in the parking lot at GCE Lab School, and social distancing as they walk across the stage. And then we will all be cheering on virtually. So students, guests, everybody, check your emails or keep a lookout for the link. Graduation is at 5 o'clock. Thank you so much, and congratulations on making it to the end of the term. Great job, everybody.
Thank you.
Good job, guys.
Thank you.
Thank you. We made it.
You did it!
I'm now a sophomore. Wow. It's a Corbin.